we can call to order. Madam Clerk, do we do roll call?
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair. Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. McKenna.
Here?
Ms. Pallison.
Here.
Ms. McPherson.
Here.
Mr. Goodstein.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Just to make it clear, Mr. Kelly and Ms. Pallison are telephonic for this meeting with Reverend Goodstein and Ms. McPherson and myself, Dr. McKenna, present in person. Just because I'm in person, I'm acting as vice chair, chairing today's meeting with Chair Kelly's consent, although we were ready for a hostile takeover if he wasn't in consent.
It'll be abrogated preemptively.
So our first item is to approve the agenda. Are there any suggestions for edits to it?
The only question I would have for the board, Mr. Chair, is, let's see, item 6A. You know what? Strike that.
Okay. All right, looks like you should. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
And a second?
Oh, second. Sorry.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, no no's. Motion passes. The agenda is approved. So let's take a look at the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'm a little confused in my binder. It seems like I have meeting minutes from the special meeting of the 28th, and then somewhere in the later on I have minutes of April 21st, but that's after the agenda for June 16th. Is that in there, or am I looking? Am I looking at the 28th and the April 21st meetings?
I think I have June 16th.
Because I have here's our current agenda, and then attached to it is minutes from June, July 21st, and July
This is
20th.
Aisha. Sorry, can I ask?
But then I also have.
I don't know if it's possible from last time. Can you move the phone in front of whoever is speaking? Not so much for the moment, but when we get into it later. Just having trouble hearing. Thank
Sure,
you.
we can do that.
Oh yeah, and I apologize. I'm sort of intentionally not
Thank
talking
you,
super
that's
loud
great.
because I'm just trying to figure out my binder. So I'm not looking at the April 21st ones. I'm looking at the July ones. Okay, that just seems like it's a relic hanging out in there. Okay.
The July 28th.
21st and 28th.
I
There's
don't
two,
have
right?
21st.
I have 21st.
21st. Keep paging through, and you should have both. They're
Really?
double copied.
I don't have 28.
If you do, that is it right there.
Oh, yeah, it's right here. Yes, I do.
That's the parent.
All right. It's right there. I'm going to count from
Becky's
5
on
on,
it.
and you're going to review your minutes.
Yeah.
So make me to
yeah.
think about what you've got.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Mom. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
The 21st looks good to me. I was not at the 28th.
It's good to me.
They both look good to me.
They look good to me. I'm embarrassed by the written evidence of my lateness.
All right, do you have a motion to approve the minutes from previous meetings?
Second. So you want the motion?
Yeah.
So moved.
Oh, so moved to approve the minutes of the 28th meeting?
21st and 28th.
21st and 28th meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. motion to approve the previous meeting minutes passes. We have nothing on the consent agenda, so moving on to unfinished business 6A. It looks like that's still confidential, is that right? So do you have a motion to move into executive session to discuss confidential matters?
So moved.
Second, all right, let's go ahead and move through to executive session.
In open session.
Okay, I'd like to move that we reorder the agenda and postpone item 6A until after consideration of items 6B and 6C to allow time for printing of the relevant and circulation of the relevant materials.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. So we're now on to item 6B, which is also confidential. So do I have a motion to go back into executive session?
I move to go back into executive session.
Aye, second.
And can I make a suggestion here? Well, I guess you need to take the vote. By the way, anything on telephonic, you're supposed to take a voice vote.
Mhm.
This is an aside. Or just say, do I have any objections? But you're
Okay.
actually supposed to do a voice vote. Although we have small meeting rules or something. But besides that, when we get back into this is the one with the, even though it's confidential, I think we should stay in executive session because it has to do with a lot of information that the public will be very interested in.
Mhm.
And that we need to record it, like what the relationship of the properties are and that type of thing.
Okay.
Certainly at this level when we're trying to figure out the analysis so that we preserve it for the future.
And then at some point we could, if we decide we want to have more of a deliberative discussion, we
Yes.
could then move. Okay. Thank you for the advice.
And should the board move into executive session on both of these items, B and C?
Yes. That would be my recommendation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ennis. I'm going to take the sense of that motion to be that which was for B and C going into executive session. Is there any opposition to that?
No opposition.
All right. No opposition, we can move into executive session.
The board is recording in open session.
All right, do you have a motion with regards to request for advisory opinion 2021-6? That was the first one we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I move that Terry deals with it. Is that the idea? Is that
Do we need to explain the contents of the opinion on the record, or just move that the Terry draft the opinion in accordance with the discussion?
I think just that.
I think
Okay.
that.
Well, remember, it's confidential, so.
Yeah.
True, okay. So you want to say, well, because the tapes are public, so the tapes can be, so that's
okay,
why
okay,
he's saying
okay.
that it should be, so we should put the content of the opinion on the record, so.
Is there a company? Okay. So then we'll say, like, I so move that Terry drafts the response to the opinion. Does that sound appropriate?
Yeah, then maybe just a little bit more detail. So like something like, Terry writes the decision in line with our discussion for us to review at the next meeting.
Okay.
Of 21-6,
Of
right?
2021 dash.
Okay, so I move that Terry drafts the decision for 21-6 in alignment with the board discussion.
I'll second that.
All in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Would the motion include to review at the next meeting?
Yes, thank you. To review the next meeting. Yes.
All right, motion passes. And do we have a motion with regards to 2021-7? Probably the same wording. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I move that Becky write a draft in alignment with the board decision to be discussed at the next board meeting.
All right, do you have a second? I'll second it.
Dan. I second that. I should definitely write that opinion.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Terry, do we hear you there?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, do we have printouts for the draft that Terry had written for the 6A? Returning to that?
Can I take this home with me too for reference in writing my opinion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
And potentially also my copy of the code. I'll bring it back, I promise.
And this is because, before we start discussing this, we should probably go back into executive session because it's still confidential.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. You're amazing.
So we get a motion to move back into executive session to discuss ethics complaint for potential violation 2021-5.
Yeah, I'm on a roll. I move that we go back into executive session to discuss 2021-5.
All right, let's go into executive session.
Recording in open session.
All right, we're back in open session on agenda item 6A. Do we have a motion in it?
I guess our motion. Do you want to make the motion?
Sure.
I'm feeling.
I'll make a motion that Abram is to update the draft opinion in response to ethics complaint for potential violation 2021-5 in accordance with our discussion to be returned to the board at the next meeting for us to talk over.
I will second that motion.
I'll probably be able to get it done before next meeting, but I probably won't be at that meeting, just FYI.
It's the whole holidays baby thing.
Holiday baby.
I think we'll definitely be able to deal with it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, it doesn't look like we have any new business. Any member comments? Anything from the audience?
I do have a question, which is, how would we have an audience if the door is locked? Do we unlock it when we're
It's
not?
open at the beginning of the
Okay,
meeting.
so you can't sort of-
Now that you're in open session, I would open it again.
Okay. So, I mean, the
I'll see
audience
if
is
you
probably
can.
the audience is probably waiting.
Hey Terry, is
bated
there anyone
breath.
at the door?
I mean,
Oh, man.
No, I don't think so. But you know, someday Eugene Carl Haberman's going to show up.
Yeah.
Be concerned.
Actually, mention one thing that's coming in. Assembly member Crystal Kennedy has asked that we look back. We never went forward on it, but the whole issue of assembly people who are on nonprofit boards and belong to community councils. What happens with respect to budget items that come before them? And of course, Mr. Dunbar came through briefly on one of those, but there was a whole, and he just stopped in, but there was a whole code section that we didn't even address. So I would probably file a request for an advisory opinion for her and try to do some of the legwork ahead of time before I bring it to the board. I also anticipate that at least one, if not two, additional administration appointees will come to the board for the conflict checks. Or
I
guidance.
did see some coverage on that.
Hmm?
I did see some coverage on that, so I was expecting.
Something like news coverage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Mention the board.
All right. Yeah, we made the papers.
We did? I'll have to find that.
All right, so scheduling for the next meeting, September to December.
Oh yeah. It sounded like this afternoon. For me, it would be really helpful if we could kick it to 2:30. I have a standing 1 p.m. with our CEO that is very hard to move, and I did it in the parking lot today, so I could be on time. So it would be easier if I didn't have to do that.
Aisha, how does that affect your pickup time?
I think that's probably okay.
Because I remember that being sort of the other end of the spectrum for the afternoons. Is like there was a
Oh.
certain point where you had to be somewhere to do.
I think that should work. I will not be able to linger.
So 2:30 to 4:30 though works for you?
That's fine. Yeah, it gives me the space to.
Okay, yeah, that works for me as well. Terry?
And which day is
What
it?
day was
Wednesday.
it?
It'd be the same day, Wednesdays, but just kicking back half an hour.
Third Wednesday of the month.
Sure. Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Is
So
it-
next
Was
week
it,
would.
sorry, what was that?
The 22nd.
Whether it was the third Wednesday of the month.
15th
Oh,
in
okay.
September, because September starts on a Wednesday.
yeah, there you go.
So it would be the 15th of September.
That would work for me.
It would be the 20th of October and the 17th of November.
That all sounds reasonable.
I would not be able to do the 20th, but I would otherwise, I think, be available.
I think I can also not do the 20th of October.
Oh, that's a September too much?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember.
And what was the September date? 15th?
15.
2:30 to 4:30, right?
Could we, is there a chance that we could do the 22nd of September instead of the 15th? Would that work for everyone? I should say that I'm hedging my bets here in case there's no school or daycare. Or we can just, I know that everyone's going to run into that problem, so I don't know if we just want to schedule it assuming that things are going to go forward.
The 22nd is fine for me too, if that works for everyone else.
What are we doing, the 22nd of October? Is that what you said?
September.
Of September.
I think, Aisha, was that your request?
Yeah.
I have another board meeting that day in the afternoon, so I can't do the 22nd.
Okay.
When the Commonwealth North Board meets.
So 9:15 and 2:30. Aisha, will that work for you, or is just?
Yeah, if there's school. If there's not school, sorry, those are all arguments.
Well,
So I
then
can't
we're all
do
in.
it.
Then we're all in trouble. Yeah, then we're all in up a boat or up a creek.
Okay, well that's fine. Yeah, no, that's those are the days that I can't get unrepaired coverage. But I assume that if things go haywire, then we're just all going to have to reschedule. So as long as that's the assumption, then the 15th is good for me.
We'll just muddle through with lots of children in the background
Yeah.
doing things.
That's what.
We'll have an audience.
Yeah.
That's what the pandemic meetings were kind of like. So.
We could have Maddie babysit. Yeah.
Virtually.
Right. But the Teams meetings work so well if everybody is Teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They work so well. It's the hybrid that's more difficult because you can't, it's hard to share documents.
Yeah, unless you have a very complex, like,
And then I guess foreseeing the problem
setup, which is
For
more
our-
expensive.
for the October 20 meeting, will Terry, Abram, and Becky all be able to make it? Because it sounds like for October 20.
Yeah,
location-
I think October 20.
I should be able to, I'm just looking at my calendar, there's no reason I shouldn't be there.
That would be
Again,
2:30.
barring the world ending.
Yeah. Theoretically, that's our conference, which we're supposed to be in Girdwood for, but we'll see how much we all want to go hang out in a hotel together.
And I might be able to do that. You
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like 9:15 at 2:30, 10:20 at 2:30, and 11:17 at 2:30. Does that look over?
Oh, wait, hold on. 17th of November?
Yeah.
Let me check that real quick. Oh, yeah, good there too. All right.
And then I guess we're getting into December, the 15th would be the third Wednesday, and that looks good for me as well.
That should be fine, that's enough. That's far enough from Christmas that
Yeah.
full mayhem hasn't
Oh,
been
man,
seen yet.
Hanukkah's way over by then. Early year for Hanukkah.
That is another year for Hanukkah.
Oh, when does it start?
This year it starts 29th, the evening of 29th.
November?
Of November, yeah.
Wow.
I think
So
we've been
early,
doing
I
fun
should
that
remember that
early.
when I start buying presents.
You gotta be planning ahead. This is
With Hanukkah, it's like a moving target. You never know. You just kind of. Cool thing though, you can buy presents on the first day onto Amazon and get them in time for the 8th day. You know what I mean?
Good.
It's very nice.
It's true, if your presents don't come, you just ship
Yeah,
them
yeah,
right down.
yeah, yeah.
Makes sense.
Depending on where you live, Amazon might be able to deliver if you order on Christmas morning, still on Christmas Day, right? With the drones. So.
That is wild.
When I was in LA, they would order. You order that morning and come back.
No, I was recently in Florida visiting family, just the same way. I'd be like, I think I want this, boop, and it would like show up 4
Yeah.
hours later.
Yeah,
Very weird.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Just wait until it comes by drone.
I know that's what we're all waiting for.
All right, I think we've got dates. Anything else before we adjourn? All right, we are adjourned.